Every great business idea, whether it's a tiny coffee shop or a huge tech company, it all comes down to one really important question. Today, we're going to crack open the financial tool that actually gives you the answer. This is the framework that turns all that guesswork into a real plan for making a profit. Let's dive in.
So picture this. You did it. You opened your dream coffee shop. The location is perfect. The coffee beans are amazing. The brand looks incredible. But there is that nagging question that kind of keeps you up at night. How many cups of coffee do I really need to sell this month just to cover all my bills? And look, this isn't just about a coffee shop, right? This is the big question. It's at the heart of every single business, no matter how big or small. It can feel like you're just taking a shot in the dark. But what if I told you there's a system, a way to actually figure it out? Getting this wrong, well, that can be the difference between a thriving business and one that has to close its doors. But here's the good news, we don't have to guess. There's an amazing framework from management accounting that turns all that uncertainty into a clear, solid number you can actually work with.
And that framework is called Cost Volume Profit Analysis, or, CVP for short. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a financial GPS for your business. It shows you exactly how things like your costs, your sales, and your prices are all connected and how they affect your bottom line, your profit. So at its core, CVP is all about understanding cause and effect. If you sell 100 more coffees, what happens to your profit? What if your coffee bean supplier raises their prices? How does that ripple through everything? CVP analysis lets you see how all these moving parts work together. Okay, so to make this work, the first thing we have to do is split all of our costs into two big buckets. First up, you've got your fixed costs. Think of things like rent, salaries, insurance. You have to pay these every single month, no matter what, even if you sell 0 coffee. Then you've got your variable costs. These are tied directly to each sale: the coffee beans, the milk, the sugar, the paper cup itself. The more coffee you sell, the higher these costs are going to be. And this is where we get to a really, really important idea: the contribution margin. So for every single coffee you sell, some of that money has to immediately go to pay for those variable costs: the beans, the milk, the cup. But whatever is left over, that is the contribution margin. Think of it as the money that first contributes to paying off all your fixed costs. And once those are paid for, every single cent of that contribution margin is pure profit. It's like the little profit engine inside every single sale. So what CVP analysis really does is it boils everything down to 4 main levers, 4 dials you can turn to change how profitable you are. You can change your selling price. You can try to sell more, increasing your volume. You could try to lower your variable costs for each unit, or you can find a way to lower your total fixed costs. Pretty much every financial decision you make is going to involve one of these 4 drivers. All right, now for the fun part. Let's use all this to find that magic number we talked about in the beginning. We're going to calculate the break-even point for our coffee shop. The break-even point is exactly what it sounds like. It's that point where you're not making any money, but you're not losing any money either. Your total revenue for the month perfectly covers all your costs, both fixed and variable. It is literally the starting line for profitability. Okay, so we've got the pieces in place, we understand our costs, and we know our goal. The formula is actually pretty simple. You just take your total fixed costs and divide them by the contribution margin you make on each coffee. So for our little shop, what is that magic number? 4,000. That's it. That's the number. Our coffee shop has to sell 4,000 cups of coffee every single month just to cover its rent, its salaries, and everything else. And this right here is why the break-even point is so powerful. The money from the first 4,000 coffees you sell, that's all just going to pay the bills. But coffee number 4,001, the entire contribution margin from that sale and every single one after it goes straight into the profit column. That's the moment your business really starts making money for you. But here's the thing. Knowing your break-even point isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. The real power of CVP analysis is when you start using it to make smart, strategic decisions, to plan for profit, not just to avoid a loss. So let's play out a super common business scenario. Let's say you're thinking, what if we run a promotion? We could lower our price a bit, get more people in the door. It sounds like a great idea, right? But CVP lets us ask the really important follow-up question. What would that actually do to our break-even number? Well, the impact is huge, and it's immediate. By dropping our price, our contribution margin, that little profit engine in each cup, it also drops. And because of that, our break-even point jumps all the way from 4,000 to 4,800 coffees. And suddenly, the question becomes crystal clear. Is this promotion really going to help us sell an extra 800 cups of coffee a month? CVP doesn't give you the answer, but wow, does it force you to ask the right questions.
And this same logic goes way beyond just pricing. Managers use this tool all the time to set target profit goals, to think about big investments like a fancy new espresso machine that might change their cost structure, or even just to figure out the most profitable mix of things to sell. It's a fundamental tool for so many key decisions.
Now, CVP is an incredibly powerful model, but it's not a magic 8-ball. It operates on a few key assumptions, and it's really important to know what these rules of the game are so you can use it the right way.
See, the model assumes that things are going to stay constant, that your selling price doesn't change, your cost per cup doesn't change. But in the real world, maybe you get a discount for buying beans in bulk, right? That changes your variable cost. It also assumes you sell everything you make. So you just have to remember these are simplifications, which is why CVP is a fantastic guide, but it's not a guarantee. And that really brings us to the most important point of all, which is summed up perfectly right here. CVP analysis is a tool to support your decisions. It is not a precise prediction model. It's not a crystal ball. Its job is to help you think through different scenarios so you can make smarter, more data-driven choices. And when you get right down to it, that's the real beauty of CVP analysis. It takes all these numbers that might feel kind of buried in a spreadsheet somewhere, and it transforms them into a dynamic roadmap. It's a guide to help you see the risks and opportunities on your way to building a profitable business. So now you have the framework, the tools are in your hands, you know the 4 big profit drivers, you know your break-even point. If this was your coffee shop, what's the first strategic lever you'd pull? Would you try to drive more sales, maybe experiment with pricing, or would you go hunting for ways to lower your costs? This analysis doesn't just give you a number, it gives you the power to make a really smart decision.